I was once a huge fan of this show. In fact, just a few days ago, I finished rewatching Season 1 to make sure I wasn't gaslighting myself into thinking the show was good, and lo and behold, it used to be awesome. But now, it's not even a parody of itself. It's a parody of itself. If you were to show the people who made Season 1 what Season 5 would look like back when Season 1 was still being made, they would have made a joke about the show going on for so long and not being interesting anymore in Season 1. The show is an abomination, and the latest episode just shows that the writers are some of the most incompetent hacks the world has ever seen. In fact, they make a joke about using AI to write an in-universe TV show, and I'm 99.9% convinced that was them admitting they aren't writing their own show.
This is bullshit, okay? American Eagle is Vault Plus's number 4 show. Why are we being canceled?
They're with you. This is coming from the top. Homelander's rebooting the universe.
Okay, can you at least then write a finale that isn't just a dog pile of a bunch of red state bumper stickers slapped together?
The Taylor Sheridan AI wrote the thing, and it does not take notes.
I'm not even going to give the context of the scene because the context kind of makes it worse. Anyway, let's get to the topic at hand. For a show that prides itself on showing blood, gore, penises, swearing so much a sailor would blush, and jabbing at right-wingers, the show is shockingly trying to be the safest show in existence. What do I mean by this? Well, because it's just an edgy show with no substance. It's not trying to do anything with its edgy content, it's just there because they can. But never stop to ask if they should. It wants to eat its cake and have it too. It wants to be this edgy TV show, but it doesn't want to be a controversial one. You'd think for a show that talks about politics, it would actually bother to try to do something with its politics. But no, it just wants the progressive points for mentioning these politics and moving on with its life. This creates a major issue with the show at large. The latest episode is probably the best example of this. So many things happen in this episode that just have no consequence, despite there being major fallout if this were to happen IRL. For example, Homelander kills the president. What happened? Nothing! Ashley, the vice president, just takes over and nobody cares. Let's move on. We've got cat girls and dog boys' asses to sniff. Homelander declares himself as God pretty openly. Nobody cares, except for like 30 people. The Vatican, not even mentioned once. Christians throughout the country, we forgot they existed when writing that scene. And a few other examples. Homelander essentially becomes president and wants to outlaw abortion. Why? I don't know. But he does. He just wants to outlaw abortion. I guess because Republican? Like, it's just there because the show wants to take a jab at right-wingers, which, okay, fair enough, but doesn't actually do anything with this. Why does Homelander not like abortions? That's something the show could explore, but that would take effort to do, which the writers lack. Also, apparently, Starlight's followers, who we never see this season, are political refugees that are hiding in sanctuary cities. How does this work? What is a Starlighter? The show can't answer that. They're apparently supposed to be an analogy to illegal immigrants, except they also keep mentioning illegal immigrants and open borders. This doesn't make any sense. It's the show just wanting Redditors who can't focus on the TV without their phones in their hands to go, it's just like real life, because they never go outside. But also, this isn't even how sanctuary cities work. A sanctuary city isn't going to offer protection to someone who's wanted by the country. That's not how it works. Also, a few other things that happened earlier in the season. We had an internment camp, and guess what? This is the worst camp I've ever seen in my life. They serve the inmates burgers and have them watch superhero movies. You don't eat burgers in a death camp. You don't watch superhero movies before you're supposed to get executed. Starlight even says in the first episode that the boys are safer in the camp than outside the camp. How? Why? That doesn't make any sense. The show just wanted the shocking image of showing a concentration camp and then moved on. Didn't do anything with it. What's the point? Well, I'll tell you what the point is. It's the same thing 13 Reasons Why did. It had all this edgy and evil stuff for the purpose of starting a conversation, but was written by so inept writers that they themselves are incapable of having that conversation. Nothing in the show matters. We aren't seeing the effects of Homelander ruling the US on the general people. They're making memes about him. We don't see the ramifications of superheroes being in the military, the main plot of the first season. Oh, they're in there, but who cares about that? They aren't doing anything. We need to show Catgirl licking her asshole. The writers clearly do not know what to do. They don't understand what they're trying to satirize. They aren't even clever enough to hide the fact they might be using AI to write for them. For a show that was once a breath of fresh air in an oversaturated market, they have turned that spot of fresh air into the most overcrowded city of tropes, cliches, and circle jerks, all in an attempt to stay relevant without pissing anyone off.